Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, who always shares her mushroom tart.
And I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who wishes to be bathed in the smoke of Douglas fir cones.
Very good. I kind of had a hard time picking one of these for this week. I was like,
Same.
oh, this isn't a very fun movie.
Yeah.
What's going on?
How are you? You know, do I sound nasally? Because I have
No.
a slight cold. Okay, good. I caught Aunt's cold and my nose has been running and eyes have been watering. Actually, watched Pig, cried my eyes out, and since then have been nasally and stuffed up. So Pig gave me a cold.
Sometimes I think something will kickstart something that was already there, you know?
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well,
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling pretty good today.
Good.
Not a new announcement, but just a reminder, we are doing a live recording episode May 25th in Massachusetts. So if you live anywhere in the area, please hit us up. We'll have more details posted later on. And then we've got another live show potentially in the work for later in the year.
Yeah, it's brewing.
Oh, yeah. Lots of things are brewing. Also, hey, if you've listened to the show for a while and you're like, why are there commercials on this episode? We have commercials now.
Which is exciting for us, but maybe kind of a bummer to you.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to listen to commercials. In which case, guess what? Our episodes are ad-free on Patreon, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. If you sign up, you get all of our additional episodes, our patron-only Discord, ad-free episodes. You become part of Michelle's inner circle, and you get to decode the messages at the end of each episode. Lots of stuff, man. Oh, and you get to vote on episodes like this one, Pig.
Wow.
Pig was voted in by our patrons.
I'm very excited for our patrons, but just the power of the patrons. The patrons bring some interesting ideas and topics. So if you have interesting ideas and topics, you could, vote. You could be a part of it.
Hey, speaking of people who are part of the show, we got some emails.
Email.
First email subject line is Good Food Thoughts. And it says, Bonjour, mon ami du cinéma. Listened to your Ratatouille episode in which you were talking about the search for feel-good food movies, and I can heartily say that Chef fills this void. It demonstrates how the high-pressure kitchen is not where you'll find joy in cooking, but rather once you leave that environment. The movie is sweet and funny, and the food they show on screen will make you salivate. As a Midwesterner, a pile of meat and potatoes is also my dream meal, so I'd love to be invited for this cuisine sometime. If you ever need a good hot dish recipe, you just let me know. What is a hot dish? Is a hot dish like a casserole?
Oh, I just assumed it was like hot, like a dish that's hot.
Right, yeah. I don't know.
Like not a cold salad?
I'm not a Midwesterner, so I've...
Well, same.
Yeah.
Maybe it's casserole. That sounds good.
Is it like hot pot? Really, hot pot is a hot dish.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's served in a pot.
Not a dish.
Right, exactly.
Very much looking forward to your episode on Pig. A bientôt? A bientôt? A bientôt? I don't know. I'm not a good French speaker. Betsy.
I don't know. What did you look up? What is that sign off? Like au revoir?
Well, bien is good.
Yeah.
So a good tot.
Tater tot?
Yeah, I think it means a good tot. Which you put in your hot dish.
What's your favorite plate? Like I'm a bowl girl. I prefer a bowl over any serving vehicle.
Yeah, I agree. I like a bowl and I like a spoon.
Wow. I haven't thought about the utensil. Probably a fork, actually.
Yeah, so if I'm eating pasta, the spoon just cuts it.
No, the spoon does not cut the pasta.
Yeah, of course.
No.
Push the pasta up against the side of the bowl. You cut it with a spoon.
So you eat spaghetti with a spoon?
Well, I don't eat spaghetti.
What?
We'll move on.
Okay.
But my 2 least favorite meals in life is spaghetti and meatballs and grilled cheese and tomato soup, which are like a lot of people's comfort meals. I hate those meals. Anyway, thanks, Betsy. I have not seen Chef, but I have seen the Chef show,
which is stressful.
It was a cooking show. No.
Chef's Table?
No, that's a different one. The Chef show is the dude, Jon Favreau, working with the chef who helps him like learn how to be a chef for the movie, and they do like cooking with celebs.
I feel like I've seen episodes of that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it is good. Wait, I think I'm thinking of Menu. Menu was a stressful food movie, right?
The Menu, yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Yes. I didn't see that, but
it's like a thriller horror-ish.
Yeah.
That was almost voted in for this episode. Next email, subject line is some thoughts on Pig. The email says, today, as I write this, Pig is my favorite movie of all time. I saw it twice, back to back, in the theater on the same day. And while I love so many aspects of it, I love Rob's monologue about the life-ending tidal wave the most. His story suggests that when this tidal wave hits, the likes of Portland will be washed away forever, killing everyone. That's why he says, you don't have to care. But these life-ending tidal waves come in cycles, demonstrating that what once doesn't kill us will have a second chance, and Rob has already endured one tidal wave with the loss of his wife. Now, with the loss of Pig, he will endure another, and I cherish that final moment in the film that ambiguously asks us to consider Rob's fate as he listens to the tape recording of his wife singing. Yes, this second tidal wave could obliterate him once and for all, but could also serve as a baptism. The director grapples with this theme in A Quiet Place, Day 1. Therein lies the beauty of Pig. Thank you for sharing it with some listeners who may have never discovered it otherwise. And that email is from friend and patron of the show, Will Coleman.
Hey, thanks, Will. Wow. To sit and watch that movie back to back is a very heavy for your emotional state. I give you credit for doing that.
I've only done that with 2 movies in my life.
In the theater?
Well, I should say a few movies, but 2 that come to mind. No, at home. One was Gus Van Sant's Elephant, and the other one is the film Capote, starring Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I agree with Will. Like, we see him so devastated from one loss at the beginning, and then we see him collapse at the loss of Pig. But then he kind of goes back to where he is. He says, I'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah, life goes on.
Yeah. So, yes, we are talking about Pig today from 2021, directed by Michael Sarnoski, written by Michael Sarnoski from a story by Vanessa Block, cinematography by Patrick Skoll, composed by Alexis Grapsis and Philip Klein, edited by Brett W. Bachman, costume design by Jamie Hansen, starring Nicolas Cage, Alex Wolff, and Adam Arkin. Michelle, take away the summary.
Robin Feld used to be a chef. After the death of his wife, Rob leaves everything behind and becomes a recluse. Amir is a high-end food middleman brokering deals between Robin and restaurants for the very expensive item that Rob provides, Oregon truffles. When Rob's pet is stolen, he enlists Amir to help him get her back. Together they will journey through the Portland restaurant scene with one goal: find Rob's pig.
All right, before we get into our discussion, we guess what the other host is going to rate the film. Now, each week, Michelle and I talk about how little we discuss the movie in between watching it and recording. I think we've said like 2 things to each other.
Yeah.
We've barely talked about this movie, and I very specifically didn't want to talk about the movie prior to talking about the movie. So I'm not quite sure because I can see this going many, many different ways. You know,
yeah,
we're talking about a pig dying. So.
And other things. Okay. I'm locked in.
I am also locked in. Michelle, do you like truffles?
I do like truffles, but I like truffle oil and I like the taste of truffles.
Okay.
But, well, truffles are so decadent that you only need a tiny, tiny bit. So you're never going to eat like a full truffle.
Oh, no. Can you imagine taking a bite out of a truffle?
It'd be so gross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you like truffles or
I do
truffle
not.
taste? You don't?
I don't. I'm not a big fan. I feel like the truffle flavor ruins a lot of things, actually.
I
Because
think
it's like sprinkled on.
Yeah, I think there are two camps, people who enjoy the truffle taste and those who feel it ruins the dish.
I was curious about the price of truffles. I found a website selling white Oregon truffles. Now, we might say Oregon. I never remember what's the correct one. So,
what did I say? Did I say Oregon?
I don't
Oregon?
know.
The Oregon Trail. It's not the Oregon Trail. It's the Oregon Trail.
I guess so. So we'll go with that. Gone. All
Portland,
right.
Oregon.
I found a website selling white Oregon truffles for $325 an ounce. An ounce.
I believe it.
So a pound is $325 times 16.
It's a lot.
Which is a lot of money. I don't know how much gold costs an ounce.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look that up. So what's your guess?
Oh, well, you know me in numbers. Don't ask me to do math. I'm going to guess a lot.
Okay, so gold per ounce is almost $3,000. So a truffle is about a tenth of the price of gold.
Okay.
That's still pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your first time watching Pig.
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask you, like, what did you think? And I want to know what you think. I want to know about how you watched it and everything. But I'm very curious if you could explain how the movie left you feeling and how you have felt in the days since about the film.
Yeah. I think this movie should come with a content warning because this is a grief movie.
Yes.
Someone, speaking personally, who's dealing with all sorts of grief, dealing with a family member I'm watching deteriorate every day, a father who passed away when I was younger, the loss of a pet, a traumatic loss of a pet. This was really tough and has put me in like a weird headspace for the last couple of days. So, that being said, content warning would have been nice because I'm not reaching for films like this in my current state of life. Or you know what I should say? I'm not reaching for content. I'm like for like this. I'm going for very light and fluffy of stuff we're not covering on the podcast.
Sure. Like what?
Oh, like I'm watching Younger on Netflix or
What is that?
Oh, it's a cute show. You never heard of Younger? I watched it when it was on in real time. It was on TV Land, produced by MTV. It has Sutton Foster in it and Hilary Duff.
Who's Sutton Foster?
Oh God. Okay. She was in Bunheads. She's on Broadway. She's so talented.
Oh.
But you know who Hilary Duff is. We love her.
I mean, of course I know who Hilary Duff is. Hey now.
Oh, I watched XO Kitty. That was really sweet and fluffy.
Is that about a cat?
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
Anyway, after I watched this, I was like, I need to watch something funny. So then I actually watched the SNL 50th anniversary special, which I highly enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I've seen a few clips of different things.
It was good.
I felt like we just did an SNL big celebration.
Wait, Timmy, right? Timmy hosted?
Did they do? No, like they did like a 40th or 45th anniversary or something.
You mean like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's
But it felt like it just happened. So I was like, I don't really care about the 5th. Like,
totally. And honestly, I reached for it because I needed to watch something really funny and I kept seeing clips and I was curious. I was like, wow, this is actually really funny.
Yeah.
However, to answer, I think your first question of like, how did I watch this? I put off watching this movie because I didn't know anything about it. And I went in assuming, oh, it's about a guy with a truffle pig. when I Googled to see where it was streaming, I saw it say like thriller. And I was like
Mm,
stressed from the beginning. And so I was really putting off going into this because I was like, something's going to happen to this pig. And
yes.
I no.
Yeah. You had texted me that you were going to start it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great. Just rewatched it myself. And then a few minutes later, you were like, I feel like something's going to happen to this pig.
Yeah. I said, I'm so stressed out. Something's going to happen to this pig.
And then maybe 10 minutes later, you just sent me the melting face emoji.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a different feeling about animals
I
than
do.
I do.
Yeah.
You know, you're a very animal forward person.
It's an interesting way to put it, but yes. I've
Yeah.
had relationships with pets that I consider family members and companions.
And I have not.
Yeah.
Do you like pigs?
I love pigs. My friend has a pig, and I photographed Dana, yeah, Ebenezer. And I photographed Ebenezer when Ebenezer was a baby. I used to do pet photography. I know that could sound weird. It's like, oh, big deal, Michelle, you hung out with the pig. No, I worked for a photographer. She had a studio. The pig came into the studio. I dressed up the pig. The pig wore hats and everything.
I think hanging out with a pig is kind of a big deal.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I do love pigs.
Something that comes up often when talking about this movie is the expectation of what the content of the movie is versus what it really is. I remember when this movie came out and was being talked about, and what everybody said is John Wick with a pig. So if you remember when we did John Wick, that's a story about, an old guy, his wife has passed away, he has this puppy, the puppy is killed, and he goes on this big rampage, right? And if you watch the trailer for this, which I recommend, check it out, not necessarily showing a different movie than what we get, but it being categorized as a thriller, Nick Cage being in it, I think you could go into it with certain expectations. So, did this movie kind of flip your expectations by the end? Like, did you think that somebody was going to get killed?
No.
Or like beaten up for the pig?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The thriller to me is like we're on the chase for something that was taken from us. So I didn't think we were going to get violent. Like it was pretty, when the pig got stolen, to me, like that was and I don't know, I just felt the vibe and the tone of the movie very early on. Like that was it in terms of intensity in violence, I guess.
Wow. You
Yeah.
might be the first person on planet Earth to say that.
Well, because when we get to know Rob, we see, well, I guess we have the whole Fight Club. Was that considered a Fight Club? I've never seen Fight Club.
Well, Fight Club, a lot of people will refer to this scene as the Fight Club thing. This isn't anything like the movie Fight Club.
No, but is that what we would consider, that underground fighting situation?
Yeah, but this is pretty unique.
Okay.
Because it's presumably chefs who are down on their luck.
Right.
And people are paying to beat them up because of how chefs treat wait staff and line cooks and
But isn't the first rule of Fight Club not to talk about Fight Club?
Correct.
And they don't talk about this.
This is kind of, it's like an industry secret.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a Fight Club then.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, so that part was it was violent, but different than the intensity of the pig getting stolen. And then as soon as we get to know Rob and how soft-spoken he is, kind of he's not using violence. So I never thought we were going to end up using more violence.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I did. Like I kind of went in thinking, here's this guy who has secluded himself. He has no interest in talking to people or wanting to return to the world at all, and he's forced to, and that his first step like on this journey is like getting the crap beat out of him. I was like, okay, so this is also a person who's willing to do crazy stuff to get his pig back, and so where are we going? And then when we first meet Amir's dad and he is telling him, like, he's threatening him, I was like, okay, well, then he's going to have to do something unsavory in order to overcome this guy who's so much in control. And then the movie does the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was devastated the first time I saw this. I just didn't know what to do. And I had never really seen anything quite like this. And I think if you're being a little unfair to the movie, you can compare different scenes. I saw people comparing the dinner scene to ripping off Ratatouille, which we just covered. Michelle right now is
No.
squinching her face and shaking her head no.
Mm-mm.
I agree with you. I think that that's really kind of reductive of like what the movie is doing.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of movies, and whenever a movie does something unique, it is like so special because so many films follow the 3 act structure. You can tell what's going to happen, and at no point during this movie could I tell what was going to happen at all.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Like
And
Rob goes to visit his old house and just sits down and talks with a little kid about persimmons.
I'm like, oh my God, this is so creepy. This could turn real bad quick. And it
Yeah,
doesn't.
like I thought, a parent would come out and be like, "What are you doing here? Get out!" And he'd have to scurry away. Doesn't happen at all.
No.
So you already mentioned this is obviously a movie about grieving,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a movie about loss of identity and turning away from identity. I think this is a great movie for anyone who does anything creative.
Yes.
To me, rewatching it this time and pondering the different scenes, I also feel like this is a really great movie about fatherhood
Yes.
and what it means to be a father and what it means to be the child of a father and a father to other people. Amir is such a little twerp. We start out with Rob and the pig, and it's quiet and it's beautiful. And then Amir shows up in his car, and it's just like so opposite. Like the contrast is like blinding, you know?
Yeah, very flashy.
Oh, just like horrible.
Yeah.
And Rob doesn't even talk to Amir the first time he comes. And he's not, I mean, yes, he's being rude to the pig.
He's kicking him.
Don't touch
Kicking
my
her.
car.
Her.
Yeah. But he's like, hey, you sure you don't want me to bring you like a shower or do you need anything else? Clearly, Amir is getting more financially from this situation than Rob is, right? $325 an ounce.
Yeah.
And he's bringing him a small amount of supplies each week. Like, you know, and maybe there's a financial situation. Maybe he puts money into an account for him. Who knows? But Amir isn't like a total jerk to start out with. But for me, his line of the movie is much later on when Rob gives him the list of things to go get for him. And he's like, I can't get all this stuff. And Rob says, you know, tell them you're working for me or tell them you're with me. And Amir says, you want me to use your name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unbelievably sad because Amir's relationship with his dad is that his dad is this really big, important thing. And Amir is not even allowed to step into the restaurant that his dad deals with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that line kind of unlocked and like kind of revealed how insecure and like how in pain he is and how he's had to strike out on his own and he's trying to do things. I don't know. How did you feel about Amir?
Yeah. I mean, I think you described him well in the beginning. He is a twerp.
Yeah.
But we get to know him pretty quickly. I mean, just the music or podcast or audiobook that he's listening to on classical music in the car, how he describes his parents to Rob, and then we learn what he's internally going with. So his relationship with his father. He tells Rob that his mom killed herself when really she's on life support. And when he goes to visit her and that scene, he can't even go inside, but speaks to her of like, I don't know why dad is keeping you alive. I don't know why you're still alive.
Right.
It's not quality of life.
Right.
So I found him, as the movie went on, I found more and more interest in him and more of a relatable character to me.
Mm-hmm.
What this film does, it does a really, really good job of taking its time in a timely manner.
Yeah.
And I have not felt that way about a movie in a very long time.
Yeah.
And it kind of, the 3 parts, which I don't remember the last movie we watched recently that was structured this way besides Moonlight. And we love Moonlight.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I like a 3-part structure that's laid out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw several people saying this movie's way too long. And I was
No
like,
way. Get out of here. It does a perfect job for what we're trying to tell here.
do you think that Amir's mom did try to commit suicide and was unsuccessful? And so his dad is trying to keep her alive.
It's a great question.
I that's how I take it, is that she did kill herself. She tried to.
Right. Right. I guess, yeah. And then, yes, because why would Amir make that up?
Right.
Like that's a dark way to describe a family member that's on life support.
He could have said, oh, she got sick and died.
Right.
But it's not just that she's dead, it's that she did it.
Right.
And he describes the parents' relationship and how there's like one time that he can remember them being happy. And that is really important later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we didn't have that conversation when the dad breaks down later, I don't think it would make as much sense.
Well, no, because it's the meal that is the connecting point.
Yeah. Well, and bringing him back to the only time him and his wife were happy.
Right. It's a power move on Rob's part.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not into like the high end restaurant life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully understand what Amir's job is.
I mean, I think he's just trying to bring the goods to the people that need the goods and not be involved with how his dad does it.
Yeah, because it's like normally you would work with a food distributor or a farm.
Right.
And they would have a sales rep. And so Amir is like Rob's sales rep. But is he getting enough from him to live this like super lavish lifestyle?
You
Because
know,
we see he's got an apartment, like he's not living at home.
right. And so it looks like he has a nice car, but it's not like the apartment's that lavish.
No.
And I'm sure he has some family money because, Darius, when he talks to Rob, Darius says to Robin, like, oh, he'll be fine. Like, I'll hook him up with a desk job.
Yeah.
And so there's still that little bit of, I'll take care of him. That way I can control him.
Well, so I guess let's see. I'll actually do the math now.
Okay.
Let's just say $300. 300 an ounce times 16. Let's say he gets a pound a week. That's $4,800 a week.
That's pretty good.
So 4,800 times 52. Yeah, I mean that's $249,000 a year. I don't know how much it costs to live in Portland, but if he's truly bringing Rob like $50 worth of groceries a week in exchange for this stuff, I guess he could be living large off.
He's
of
a single dude. He doesn't have kids or a partner that we see.
Yeah.
So he could have like a 1-bedroom in Portland. Yeah.
The whole classical music thing, just the way I took it, and I don't know if you feel the same, but I took it as he knows what he should be. And he's like he knows that he should be someone who knows about like the finer things in life in order to like operate at the level that his dad is. And so he's like trying to play catch up because his dad was not as good of a dad to him as he should have been. Like his dad should have taught him about classical music. And not that I think, the barometer of success for a parent is teaching your child about classical music, but it's like he's playing catch up. He's trying to raise himself into his dad instead of his dad raised him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, and I guess that fits into when we get to the end, when Amir gets in his car, when Rob walks back home, and he goes to put on his radio.
Mm-hmm.
What would you call? Is it still called a radio? Music?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean. And then he quickly shuts it off, and he just like cries in the silence. Because to me, the whole time I was like, oh, this is just a deeper level to Amir of, oh, maybe this actually calms him down. But then what you're saying kind of supports that end.
Yeah.
I got to tune this out.
Do you think that his dad took Rob's pig so that Amir would be forced to stop doing the work?
That's a great question. I don't understand. Like, truly, it makes me angry because we steal the pig, which
Yeah.
we're angry off the bat. Don't steal the man's pig,
Yeah.
right? We have the confrontation asking about the pig, and he goes, and Darius offers him like $25,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This whole time, though, the pig's actually dead.
Right.
So that to me was kind of confusing. I'm like, then why don't you just take the $25,000 and buy yourself a pig?
Right.
So then it's like this was a power move for Darius to control Amir.
Yes. Yeah. At first, the first time I watched it, I just thought, okay, this is like rivalry type stuff or
Yeah.
competition type stuff or whatever. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, I think that he just couldn't stand the thought of his son being on his level or trying to attain to his level. There's an odd competition. I don't know that it exists in every dynamic of child and parent, of all the different combinations of like mother and daughter, or to mother and son, and daughter to father. I don't know. But there can be a real power struggle between a son and his father of wanting to be like them, but then the father is insecure, and so it's like a instinctual territorial, like I need to knock this kid down kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then I think there's a flip side to that where the father is so obsessed with himself that he wants to mold the kid into himself. And there's a balance, I think, there in between those two things. But clearly this dude doesn't think that he's good enough to be like him. And I think he knows what it took to be like apparently this super tough, crazy guy who runs Edgar and the heroin addicts who stole the pig. And so he's obviously not just like an above the board guy. So maybe he doesn't want that for Amir, or he doesn't think that Amir has what it takes, blah, blah, blah. But I think that Rob just got caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Amir's, as much as he doesn't want to be involved with his father, he's chasing acceptance. I mean,
Absolutely.
he wouldn't have told his dad about Rob and the pig.
Absolutely. He wants, and I mean, it's the only parent that he has left.
Yeah.
And so maybe he had a different relationship with his mom and that's gone now. And so what do I do? Who do I have? Yeah, absolutely. When Rob goes to meet him, he says, oh, all the restaurants in Portland owe you a great debt. There's a lot of respect there. I don't think he knew that it was Robin Feld.
You don't think Amir dropped his name?
Amir didn't know who he was. Amir just knew him as Rob.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, yeah, I work with this guy, Rob, who's got a truffle pig, and I'm getting truffles from him, and this, that, and the other. And so this guy says to these other truffle hunters, he's like, hey, take that guy's pig, because I don't want my son encroaching on my business.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know who it is.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about Amir a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Cage as Robin Feld. Now, we have only done Nick Cage in Moonlight, right?
Moonstruck.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Which I think we both liked him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different role.
Such a different role. I'm a huge fan of Nick Cage. I've been working for the last few years. I'm watching every movie that he has made. But sometimes I think my appreciation for him can kind of maybe blind myself to how good he actually is. So for you, how did you feel about him in this?
Yeah. So off mic, I was telling Seth that I've only seen Nicolas Cage in Moonstruck, this movie, Fast Times, and It Could Happen to You, which is my favorite from childhood.
Yeah.
So, that's my experience with Nicolas Cage, and I've enjoyed him in all the things I've seen. I thought he did great in this. I mean, I don't know, and I feel like Nicolas Cage, even if you haven't seen him in a lot, he's just like an actor everybody likes.
hmm
We always like seeing him.
Yeah.
So
And he's very like at the birth of memes.
yes.
Cage was there.
Yeah. His face is on pillowcases and
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a very interesting guy. He's got one of the most interesting careers like in Hollywood history. He's done B movies. He's done direct to video stuff. He's done huge blockbusters. He can play, I mean, in Moonstruck, him and Cher outside of his apartment. And I may have said this on the episode. It's like the most romantic thing like ever. And he goes on this big speech about like they lied to us about what love is. Love isn't perfect. It's messy. Now get upstairs and get in my bed. But it's all in how he delivers it, right? Like saying that to someone is like,
Yeah.
all right, hey, that's a little fresh here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like in that moment between the two of them, it's like, oh my God, it's like the most romantic thing I've ever seen. He plays super scary. Last year he was in Lawn Legs, which I remember you asking me, is there a big spider?
Spider, yeah. Nicolas Cage's face on a big spider.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I literally asked Seth that as a serious question.
Yeah. Terrifying. I was like scared for a week after watching that movie.
Okay,
Oh,
I will
yeah.
never watch that.
Yes. Like he really scared me. And he plays like the scary guy in that movie,
Yeah.
So he's able to do so much. And in Pig, he's like so reserved.
Yeah.
He doesn't go like crazy big and it's all very, very quiet. So Robin Feld was a huge chef, important chef. He to have as much respect as he has, he must have been very innovative and influential. His wife passes away. We don't know how. Being at the height of success for his field, he realizes what actually matters in life. And once he loses that and can't get it back, he just rejects everything and like totally disappears. He's still a cook, makes the mushroom tart, tells Amir you should use stale bread for French toast, which I love. Because again, it's like he's still teaching and he's not, you tell me, is he like curmudgeonly? Is he like angry?
No.
I didn't take him that way.
No. This is a chosen lifestyle. And like he says, we don't get a lot of things to really care about.
Right.
And I lost the thing I truly cared about. And so now I care about my pig. I care about a quality meal. I take time to prepare it. I care about the outdoors.
Right.
It's the simple things.
And that was really amazing to me. And it's such a thing that I don't know if you would pick up on had you not worked with chefs. There are many hallmarks of a great chef, but one of them is attention to detail. And when we learn that he doesn't even use the pig for truffle hunting, he knows by the trees tell him. So this is something he is applying all of his like mastery to this new thing, and he has found a way of doing it that no one else has done. And that's what put him on the map in the first place, right? Except now he's not doing it in any way that you would know or he will show to anyone else. Like it's not like he's going to all the other truffle hunters and he's like, oh, let me show you how. He's completely content to be like the best.
Yeah.
All by himself.
And the pig sees him for who he is. There's no questioning.
Yep.
It's a true companion. And when he says, Amir says, then why are we trying to get this pig back? And he says, because I love her.
Yes.
I lost it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
It is so devastating because again, you think about he lost his wife
man.
and he didn't replace his wife with a pig, right? But in the way of grieving is navigating, and going from one place to another, and sometimes you're stuck and sometimes you're moving forward, and we say moving on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I've moved on, or you need to move on, right? So there's this idea in grief of transition. And so he can't get his wife back, but he can get his pig back. And so he's forsaking everything for a second time. He's leaving behind his place and his lifestyle because this is something he can do. And he's going to use his powers. And as a character, his powers are I'm a chef and I have a name. And when he goes to Edgar, everyone always talks about this scene as being like super out of place and like weird and odd, but he goes to Edgar, right? He offers him food, which I love that little. It's just a little bit of world building, character building, you know, in order to kind of get in with this guy who he knows, he's got to offer
Yeah,
something
you
first.
don't go
Mm-hmm.
empty-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I also love, well, yeah, on that note with chefs and cooks, I love when they're sitting at the table later and Amir and his dad are sitting there and he says, eat. He like gestures.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, yeah. He goes to Edgar and Edgar says to him, you don't have a name anymore. No one knows who you are, and so you have no value. And the first time you're watching, you're like, what does this possibly mean? And when he goes to the fight group,
The Fight Club.
he proves to Edgar, I do still have a name. I do still have value. Even if it's just that someone wants to pay to beat me up, I am still somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's one moment when Robin steals a bike and he just like screams in the face of the guy. There's like that one moment where he kind of goes like big and insane and crazy. But other than that, it's all very, very reserved because he knows who he is. He knows what he's capable of. And, as the mysteries kind of unraveled, we don't know that he remembers every meal that he's ever made and every person he's ever served. But once he knows who the dad is and he hears this story about me, he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
We as the audience, we're the only ones who know about Amir's mom. Rob just knows that she's dead. And as the widower of a dead wife, he's like, okay, so here's what I'm going to offer to this guy to get back the one thing that I want. I'm going to offer him the one thing that he wants,
Right.
which is this moment with his wife. And he gives him back this moment that he had with his wife. Now, this is the part where I am like devastated and
Oh,
just
I'm
like
devastated
sobbing.
at this point
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, this was because, and the thing is, no, grief is a journey and there is no such thing as you have to move on. And
Mm-hmm.
you used a really good word of just transitioning into like different time period,
Yeah.
into time. But Darius has not grieved
No.
based on his reaction.
Yeah.
Amir has not grieved at all. Nobody's truly, we're just dealing with kind of avoidance
Mm-hmm.
and let me disconnect
Mm-hmm.
and not connect over what I'm going through. And that's
Yep.
truly when Darius has his reaction, it's clear right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know about you, but for
Mhm.
me, smell transports me back in time instantly to moments.
Same.
Yeah. And a lot of taste is smell. This movie is so well written.
Yes.
I feel bad for people who watch this and can't see everything that went into it.
Same. I mean,
And like the many layers that there are to like almost every moment and interaction.
yeah. And also just, I mean, listen, we have reactions. We all have different reactions to movies, as we've discussed every week on this episode, on this podcast, right? But the Reddit threads on this movie are quite interesting of just like, I'm sorry, what did I miss? This guy's just in love with a pig? I'm like, wow, you are
Yep.
simple thinking. Oh, wow, have you never lost anybody? Have you never gone through grief? My mind was blown. I was like, and there's times when I've watched things and I'm like, I'm missing it here. But I think I could recognize I'm just not the audience for this.
Right.
But that really like blew my mind. He's not in love with the pig. He's not having a relationship with the pig in the way you're presenting it.
Yeah. And that's even said.
Yes.
In the movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Someone says, in a different way, but they're like, what, do you have sex with your pig? And he says, no, I do not. And like, he says it like, it's not a funny moment at all, but it's like a clarifying moment. He's clear. He's not, he's not taken aback. It is very clear. He loves this pig.
She's a companion.
Yeah.
If this was a dog, there wouldn't be the same reactions.
Right. Again, John Wick. Nobody watches John Wick and they're like,
oh, how weird.
Why would you do that? It's like,
right.
Watch the movie. Like literally watch the movie. But this movie, I don't want to attack anybody. Truly, I feel bad. Like I feel sadness in my heart that someone can't pick up on what the movie is offering. And it's a real shame because it's quite beautiful. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways that this can connect with you. Connect with you as a creative person, which is what I want to talk to you about next. Connect with you, the parent to child relationship, anyone who's lost anyone who was trying to be someone, anyone who, like Amir, you're trying to fit into this role that maybe you don't fit into it. I don't know. He seems to be doing pretty good, if you ask me,
Yeah.
So that dinner scene, he gives Amir the list. You don't know what's going to be on the list. Maybe the list is like guns or a bomb. You know what I mean? When I realized what was happening, I was like floored. Like absolutely floored that a movie would portray service and compassion and the use of your skills in order to make something for someone else as the way of like beating the final boss. That is very, very unique to a very unique way of solving this problem.
Yeah, you didn't choose violence.
Right. Yeah. And what it means to make something for someone else to eat and care, and in the process show Amir how to do it. Right. And that's kind of another layer to it is you heard about this meal. I'm going to make that meal for you. And I'm going to show you how to do it yourself. And so now he can make it for the rest of his life. He learned how to make it. But yeah, I love this sequence. This is one of my favorite in all of movies. It's beautifully shot. I feel like it doesn't last too long. It's not too sentimental. The music in it is great. And then, Amir's like, Dad, can you come out here? We made you something to eat. His dad eats it and breaks down. And then, we get the reveal. Your pig is dead. And you can tell again, because I think he didn't know who it was. He wasn't thinking about all of the ramifications of what he was doing. He feels bad.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't his intention for this to happen. And then the sound drops out. Nick Cage collapses. So at this point, what were you?
A puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just describing, it was one thing to say the pig is dead, another to say like the handlers were rough and the pig couldn't make no. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go back. I think when you watch the movie the first time, some of the scenes might feel a little disconnected because we don't always get told from each stage what the next stage is. So when he goes to Edgar, he gets some information. And then he goes to this restaurant and he asks Amir to like get him in for this lunch thing. And then when he's at that restaurant, it's not necessarily that the chef there says, "Hey, XYZ," you know what I mean? Like he says, you don't want to make him mad, and that's kind of when Amir realizes who it is. But the movie doesn't do a lot of hand holding to connect
Mm-mm.
the scenes, you know? So he goes to this very upscale, bougie restaurant. Have you had meals like this and this experience of like being told a story by the server? You know what I mean? Like super, super processed food.
I've definitely had experimental dishes,
Mm-hmm.
but not so much with the story behind it being told. I've read the story on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who's primarily vegan, vegetarian, you know, we're limited in
Sure, sure.
the fancy restaurants. But last month, Sam and I, my friend Sam and I, we went to an upscale vegan restaurant,
Hmm.
and the dishes were absolutely beautiful, and it was using vegetables in a very unique and experimental way, and not just fake meat. Like, here is
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
processed hamburger. No, 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 those are like vegetables done in the most beautiful way,
Hmm.
and it was awesome. Yeah, let me get the name, hold on. ABC Kitchen, if anybody ever is in New York City and you are a vegetarian, I highly recommend.
Even if you're not.
Even if you're not. Yeah, I mean, if you like
Absolutely.
vegetables. If you don't like
Yeah.
vegetables, you probably won't like this
Right.
place.
I've been to some fancy places. I don't seek them out. You know, I'm not a pusher aware of fancy stuff. I'm also not a pusher aware of hole in the wall places. If I have my choice, honestly, what I'm looking for out of life is just like a really great sandwich
Mhm.
or something that I haven't seen before, you know? Kind of like in movies.
Mhm.
I want to see something or taste something I haven't had. What I really like about this scene is that Rob doesn't end by saying, "This is the wrong way of doing food." He personalizes it for this guy. How did you take this scene and the guy's like performance and the history? Like, how did you feel about this?
Yeah, I took that as, oh no, I'm caught. Oh
Mm.
my gosh, you are tearing me down to my skeleton here
Mm-hmm.
in the way that, kind of like a mirror of you're presenting yourself in a way you thought or and you think you should be.
Mm-hmm.
The guy Finway really wanted to open a pub.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out he worked for Rob and then
Mm-hmm.
gets fired. And he's like, I wanted to open a pub. And it's like, oh, well, pubs don't make it. There's no money in
Right.
them.
Right.
And so when Rob gives along the lines of, no one, you're a fake, you're a phony,
Mm-hmm.
no one's going to see you until you truly present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there, I love, because as creatives, I mean, we talk
Mm-hmm.
about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We how many times do we say we don't care if you like the show or not? We're gonna do
Right.
we're gonna
Right.
keep our jingles and segments, but also we do need your love.
Right. Yes. And I know I just said like, oh, that sequence is one of my favorites in all movies when they make the meal for the dad. But I think this movie can have two hearts. There's enough in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously that scene is like, that's the real heart of the movie. It's the culmination of everything. It's so beautiful. But this is the other heart of the movie. And it is devastating, devastating to remind everyone that people don't know you because you haven't given them a chance to know you because you're pretending. I feel that in many ways. Like,
Yeah.
whose way of doing things am I still kind of going under? Am I really doing what I think I should be doing? And if I do something, in my job, in anything,
Mhm.
and I get praise for it, is it really me, or am I just pretending to be somebody else? Am I, using someone else's recipes? Am I just doing it because I think it's what people want? It's not necessarily what I want,
I mean, I feel this every day. And I've said to Aunt a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this. I was like, I think there's very, very few people who actually know who I am.
Yeah.
Like truly. The rest is just what you think I am. And then it's also the facade I put up to just get through the world.
Right. And so Rob could just go in and just dress him down and humiliate him and say, like, this sucks, this, da, da, da. But he doesn't do that. And again, another little layer in how smartly this is written. At the end, when he listens to the tape, you were talking about avoidance earlier, right? And we know Amir's dad has avoided grieving and moving on and coming to terms with what things are. Rob is also doing the same thing, because at the very beginning, he goes to listen and then he turns it off. And how often does he do that? And he's not able to actually listen to the whole thing because of what it would do to him. On that tape, his wife says, we're going to go to dinner and you're going to complain about the food and I'm going to have to drink a lot. And that's like a funny little thing, but really think about that's her view of him.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a joke, you're really revealing the truth. And we have such little dialogue from her. And in that short amount of time, we see how he used to be. And so I think he could go in there. This dude addresses him as Chef, Chef Feld.
Mm-hmm.
The respect is still there. And, but he doesn't say this type of food is always wrong. It's just not what you want. And that makes it wrong. And I think we all have to get by. We all have to work a job,
Mm-hmm.
If you sell tires, do you really care about that? Or do you just need money? And the person who's manufacturing the tires, they might love tires.
Right. Or maybe
that might be their
you
whole thing.
You might not love tires, but you like helping people.
Right. Yeah. And so, we all have to find our way. And unfortunately, for society to exist, we cannot all chase our dreams all of the time.
Right.
But can you chase your dreams some of the time? And has lying and pretending caused you to never even consider them? Because this dude cracks.
Yeah.
I think you could see his performance as kind of odd.
I don't at all. Because
No,
I imagine if someone had this conversation with me, I'd react exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can see it's all this stuff that he's pressed down and hasn't allowed himself to think about. And Rob just gets right to the heart of it and, pulls down the illusion. So he says the great line, we don't really get many things to care about. And again, everybody's got to have a job. You got to get through, okay? You got to get through. But what do you care about? And does getting through take that from you? And if you can hold on to it and you can keep caring about it, can you do that? Then do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when Rob goes to the bakery, his old restaurant location.
Yep.
And it's a bakery now. I love this scene. I love how it's set up for us. And he gets the salted baguette.
Yep.
And does he get 2 ham pies?
I think he does.
I love that though, because in this moment he's thinking of Amir and he brings Amir a piece of food, and such love is shared when someone brings you, as we've been saying, someone cooks you a meal, makes you anything, brings you a snack. But I was like, oh my God, I think these are ham pies. Throwback to last year on Movie Friends.
Throwback to last year. And what I like about that in that moment is that he picks one up and then puts it down in favor of another.
Yes.
And so again, I think you can see all of Rob's actions two ways. You could be like, oh, he's picky and he's grumpy, or he just has that attention to detail that a good chef has, and he's picking the best. Why wouldn't you pick the best?
Right.
And I love that scene is a mirror of the previous scene that we were just talking about, because he says, you turn into a bakery. She says, yeah, you're a chef, I'm a baker, so it's a bakery. And she says, I tried to keep it for a while because I thought that you would come back, but once she knew it wasn't his anymore, she had to make it into what she could do.
Right.
I love that.
It's so good.
It's so, yeah, the movie's very well written, very well thought out. And this is a debut feature. This is his first film. Yeah. I think he was like 25 or so when he made this.
That is, wow. I read, and maybe was this shot in 20 days?
Yes.
Wow.
Shot in 20 days, but I think it was worked on for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Came out I think they shot in 2019. And then obviously with COVID and everything, that slowed down a lot of stuff.
And then the pig wasn't trained?
The pig was not trained, no. Which I kind of like even more.
Me too.
Yeah. Sometimes you learn things about movies and you're like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't know that. But everything I learned about this, I was like, this actually kind of enhances the movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we didn't talk a lot about like behind the scenes stuff, but for this one, sometimes I'll get a chip on my shoulder. I'm just going to pull the curtain back a little bit here, Movie Friends listeners. I'll listen to various podcasts talk about a movie, and sometimes I'll just get such a chip on my shoulder because they don't talk about the content of the film. All they're interested in is talking about the actors and the behind the scenes facts and the Hollywood gossip and the this and the that. And I'm like, right, but what did you feel when Amir is standing outside of his mom's door saying, don't you wish dad would let you die? That's what I want to know. And that's why we always say, Michelle and I are not experts. We're just two people having a conversation, and maybe you want to hear it. Now, having said that,
here's some facts and figures.
This movie was made for $3 million. Goes on to make 4.6. Currently has 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, 82 on Metacritic, 3.8 on Letterboxd. Unfortunately, Ebert passed away before this movie came out, so we don't know his thoughts on it. And this is not in the Criterion Collection or the National Registry, but quite recent, so there's still time. And yeah, production days were 20 days. All right, let's go into our happies and crappies.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies.
So my happy is in the beginning when Robin is making his mushroom tart, and part of the flour falls onto the floor, onto the pig's face, and the pig, she shakes her head, and then they eat the tart together. I love this so much. Now, depending on how you feel with your pets, don't feed them people food and whatnot.
Right.
Sometimes it is so nice to share a meal with your pet, and I share eggs with Moish.
Oh, eggs.
Moish loves eggs. Moish sits on our stool anytime we're making eggs in our kitchen, and he just watches. If Moish would, honestly, we joke about this all the time. Moish, our cat, would be like, we think, Remy.
Oh,
and when I get his portrait done, because I have portraits of all my cats, when you get his portrait done, he's going to wear a little chef's hat.
Nice.
Anyway, he loves eggs. My crappy is, it's just the idea of stealing someone else's pig. Right. I know that's a cop-out, but that's it.
That's like when you ask your mom about a movie, and she's like, well, I didn't like the violence. Why did that have to happen? And you're like, well, that's the story.
That's my crappy, so take it or leave it, but
yeah. My happy is Rob slowly talking about food more over the course of the movie. And on that kind of vein is just all of the moments of food throughout the film. Drinking coffee at the diner, eating French toast, even like the weighing of all of the different truffles. I felt like the food had weight in the movie, almost like the food was a character, but not individual items. It's just that food as a category. It's something that exists. I guess I can explain it like
it's a storytelling device.
Yeah, it's so in Eyes Wide Shut, the Kubrick film Eyes Wide Shut, there's Christmas trees and Christmas lights in almost every shot and every setting. And it kind of goes beyond just like set dressing to be this like other thing that's communicated.
Uh-huh.
That's how I feel about the food in this movie. And I'm like, crappy, this might sound like a cop out this time around. I don't really have anything.
It's not the fact that someone would steal someone else's pig?
Well, I mean, I don't like that, but that's what the story is.
The idea of it, though. You wouldn't steal someone's pig.
So we asked some friends on Twitter what they thought. Trevor Landreth at T Landreth Perk.
Hey, Perk.
Says, Pig is one of the few movies that actually makes me want to be a better person. And then purple heart emoji.
I believe you have it in you.
I think so too. I think we all do.
We all do.
Betsy Gorm at Gorm_Betsy. We heard from her earlier.
Hey, Betsy.
She says, I had a misconceived idea of what this movie was before I watched it. Then I saw it and fully sobbed. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. There's that.
Amber Nicole at Ambular_93.
Ambular.
Oh, maybe that's what it's supposed to be.
I just think of
I've
coolest.
I've always read it as ambular, like an ambulance.
Popular. Yeah, I think either. You let us know. I just think of like ambular.
Yeah, are you ambular or are you an ambulance?
Oregon or Oregon?
Right, yes, please, if someone could clarify that.
Yeah, a local, right?
She says, I watched it, cried. Then I made my mom watch it, so I didn't have to cry alone. I love it so much.
Oof.
Oof. Trash Panda at haha funny Kyle. It's a good one, right?
I love it.
Says, Pig is Nicolas Cage's most sincere and open-hearted role. It's tender and exact and unbelievably kind to all of its characters. Truly a special film that I'll treasure all of my life.
So this is all high praise for this movie.
Violet at Parade of Violets
Ooh.
says, I named my cat partially after this movie. Her legal name is Miss Piggy, but we just call her Pig.
Her legal name, I cannot. Oh my God, that's so cute.
The Power of John at John Cleta, or Clyda, maybe. I don't know. Correct us, please. Send us an email. Half expected a John Wick action flick, which I love, by the way, but was pleasantly surprised to see it was a much more in-depth look at a man's low point in his life and how he deals with the pain and anguish. Terrific performance by Cage. It's Holly, rainbow flag emoji, at not GH_Holly.
Oh.
So I'm confused. Is it Holly or is it not?
Holly decides that.
So they say, it literally made me rethink the entire revenge movie genre. While we've come to expect guns blazing violence, what we actually need more is reflections on the nature of grief and masculinity. We don't get a lot of things to really care about is an all-time classic line.
Well said, Holly.
Very well said. So those are some people that we do know. Now we go to a segment of the show where we hear from people we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. All right, these are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is a website and an app where you can log, rate, and review movies. We start out with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film. We go all the way up to a 5-star review,
Yeah.
which is the highest rating that you can give a film. The half-star review, if you're listening for the first time, for some reason, I read these in an accent. And do you have a request?
I don't. Do you have an idea? Or are we just going to
I
go?
could try to do Nick Cage. That's like a voice that people do.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Knock your socks off, Seth.
How does Nick Cage talk?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. That's not good. I lost my hand. I lost my bride. I think I can't do a Cage accent. I just can't do it. I'm going to do classic British accent, okay?
Oh, yay.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. This is a soccer lad, a hooligan, I think they're called. A soccer hooligan.
A football hooligan?
Oh yeah, oops. And he's
Is that
just
what you
come
were
in.
going for?
Yeah, he's just come in from practice and he watched Pig and he's mad.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh
Okay.
no.
A pox upon anyone who gave this movie more than half a star. You're all the reason I wasted 2 hours of my life. This is one of the most boring, pretentious movies I've ever seen. It's 2 hours of boring slop before they just ratatouille you at the end.
2 hours?
Half-star.
What are you watching?
It's not even 2 hours.
I know. Like what?
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the ratatouille of it all.
Mm-hmm.
As we discussed last week, Remy did not know that was
Right.
Anton's dish.
Right.
This is not ratatouille.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. In both movies, you have a hard man breaking down because of a memory of food. Yes, sure. In that way, they're similar. But that is to take a scene and pull it out of the context of the film. So good luck. Go for it. Like, fine. Have fun. It's not what the movie is about.
No.
The movies are about such different things.
Yes. Yes.
Surprisingly, Ratatouille and Pig are not the same movie. All right, 3-star review. After reading Nicolas Cage stating that this was his favorite performance, I decided to go ahead and watch Pig. It's definitely not what I expected, but that's not a bad thing. The film is unique, memorable, and satisfying. And yeah, he was very, very proud of this movie.
He should be.
Yeah. 5-star review. Quietly devastating. I could taste most things eaten or drank on screen. I cheered, I wept, and I leaned in more than once. I could say it's a shame it took me so long, but honestly, I'm just grateful I experienced it.
Wow.
Nice. Simple, honest.
Cheered,
grateful.
huh?
I'm not sure when I would cheer.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But you know what?
No, that's great. I'm not judging the 5-star.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, when would I cheer?
Yep. All right, so we rate a movie as a schmovie, a movie, or a film. We give our final thoughts, and we reveal what we wrote down to guess. We're playing for pickles this year. So I won last week.
Yeah.
Which means that I go first.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. For you, I wrote down 5-star film.
Yes.
So I get a pickle.
I've really, really gone back and forth on this rating for the last 3 days. I don't want to say that this is a 5-star film just because I love it and it means so much to me and speaks to me personally, because it does all those things. But looking at it and really trying to dissect how everything connects together, I don't think that any scene in this is misplaced at all. What do you call it? The fight gathering?
Fight Club.
The scene with the kid outside, teaching the kid about tannins, Rob is visiting his house and there's a kid there. This could have been his kid. You know what I mean? Like there's so much happening in every single scene if you look at it. I think that it's perfect. It's a perfect film. So, yes. And I recommend that everyone on Earth see it. Maybe this will come across better if you've seen a lot of Nick Cage movies and you know him one way and then he shows this other side. I don't know. Okay, for you, I wrote down 4.5 film.
This is a 5-star film.
Wow. Oh my God. I lost the pickle, but we gained a 5-star film.
Yeah. I, like you, have also been thinking about my rating since I watched it. And as much as it's affected me, there's no reason why this is not a 5-star film. It is beautifully shot. The pacing is perfect. There's no wasted scene. Every performance is great. It's a no-brainer to me. Like,
Wow.
once I knew it was going to be a film, I was like, but I don't, like, I'm recognizing that this is really, really good. Will I revisit it anytime soon? Probably not, because I don't want to go through the emotional stress of it.
Right.
I would recommend it, but I would give a content warning.
Got it. Did Anthony watch this with you?
No.
Okay.
He didn't want to be stressed out. So he's watching Lost, which is like its own kind of stress.
Yeah, that's a different.
Yeah.
With its own kind of pig.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So on our pickle rating scale, we both rated this 5 stars, which for us is a perfect pickle. And a reminder to people, because people are always asking, what's a schmovie, right?
Yeah.
And we don't give any definition. Well, to us, a perfect pickle is not a specific pickle, but it is the perfect pickle for you at that moment.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that describes this movie quite well.
What's the pickle tally?
So as of right now, you have 2 and I have 3. So we're doing good.
I guess.
I don't even take the pickle tally as something competitional. Is that a word? Competitive?
Competitive. I think I just want to know I'm getting pickles.
I'm just like, oh man, more pickles.
More pickles in my bank.
The pickle bank.
The pickle bank.
But it's just like, let's spread the pickles around, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to spread your pickle around, we would love it if you give us a rating and a review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Castbox, Podbay, wherever you're listening. Podcast Addict, that's a big one. Hey, if your podcast player of choice allows you to rate and review a show, please do so. We would love that. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about Pig, about fine dining. Are you just looking for a big sandwich? Or do you want, emulsified scallops? Both are good. Cool, man. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you ad-free episodes, voting rights on monthly episodes, quarterly monthly themes, our patron Discord, where you get to talk to us and other people about movies like Pig. Hey, some of the patrons have been playing Words with Friends.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I've been wording with friends in it up.
It's
pretty incredible, actually. And you also get access to Michelle's Inner Circle. You get to decode the message at the end of each episode. It's a mystery that you unravel week by week. It's very silly, but I love it so much. And you get access to all of our extra shows, man, and episodes. And yeah, speaking of...
Wait.
What?
Before you continue, which very well said. I didn't want to interrupt you during your flow, but we do have to talk about if this movie passes the Seth shell test.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot to do the Seth shell test. So the Seth...
Yeah, I know. It's hard to say.
It is, yeah. The Seth shell test is our riff on the Bechdel test. So our criteria is this movie must contain something tangible that is impressive, whether choreography, production design, or practical effect, and it must have a runtime that is justified by its content. For me, this would be the makeup, hair and makeup costume on Rob. I love that he's bloody the whole movie. I know that takes some people out of it, but
He's got
it's
clean
such
hands.
well, yeah, but like his face.
No, I know, but at least he washes up when he goes to cook.
Yeah, it's just such a crazy choice to have him look this way. And then also the production design on the food, the environments. I thought that was all great. And I think the runtime is perfect. I think that it shouldn't be any longer. It shouldn't be any shorter. I think it's perfect.
I agree. This is a yes for me as well.
Nice. Very nice. So Food-uary ends.
Wow.
We've done Willy Wonka, Do the Right Thing, Ratatouille, Pig. What a lineup.
What do I know?
Somehow Food-uary ended up becoming one of the best months.
Yeah. I mean,
ever
what a comeback after January.
Well, sure. You and I say every week, we did it. We're
did it.
back.
After 2 years.
We're back from the show
back,
that we program ourselves. That we have 100% control over.
That's right.
But as one Nick Cage door closes, another one opens. So for March is a patron voted theme, okay? And we didn't have a lot of categories nominated this month, but we did have one category that was nominated by two different people who didn't even know that each other nominated it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So for March, we're sticking with Cage.
Wow.
We are going to do Cage March, which is a play on Cage Match.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be reviewing the films of Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
How excited are you?
I'm pretty excited because I think it's funny to highlight one person. Like last year we did Jim Lai and we did Jim Carrey in July, and we thought that was like so funny to us.
Yes.
I think his Jim Lai was just fun to say.
Yes.
So to do an actor highlight spotlight so early in the year is very entertaining to me. And the fact that two patrons chose this theme without talking to one another.
Yes. So this was nominated by both Josie and Ben.
Wow. Did they have a sidebar going on?
There could be. And like,
which is fine. That's great.
We don't have any rules.
No,
okay?
there's no rules.
I've said it before. If you listen to this show and you've listened to us for 2 years and you're like, when are they going to do Bollywood?
Yeah, when are we going to do Bollywood?
I know. I would love to. Sign up for Patreon. Send some messages, do some secret council stuff and sway the vote, man.
Secret council.
Seriously.
Voter fraud. Get up in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, there is no voter fraud here. We don't care.
We don't care. Yeah.
Just the thought that we don't have to pick every movie and every theme is such a relief to me. So
yeah,
it's like,
I know.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, no, it's fun. So with that,
yeah.
What movie are we starting off Cage month?
Okay, so I've also been thinking about this for days, and Pig is a more recent Nick Cage movie. It's a very reserved performance. When we think of Nick Cage, this isn't exactly the performance that we would think of all the time, even though, as we've already said, he's got such a varied career. He can do it all, truly. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would be fun to kind of make a hard pivot into a different direction. So we're going to be talking about Vampire's Kiss from 1988. And it's directed by Robert Bierman. 103 minutes. And it's currently playing on Tubi.
All right. I look forward to this.
And you have not seen this?
I have not.
It's a lot.
But it's vampires? Maybe? With the title?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're not giving me much.
No, I don't want, no. Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. When we first started this show, we spoke so much about the movies we were going to cover, like leading up to it. Like the texts were wild, and I would send you my live thoughts. And like now it's like non-existent.
Yeah.
Barely anything, which is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll text you more if you want.
No. I'm just saying, like, it's interesting of the evolution of like we save it more for the show, and we don't want to like give each other's feelings away.
Right.
So much, you know.
Yeah.
There's bits and pieces. Like we'll send each other like a screenshot or a comment.
You know what? With Pig, it was like, this is such a special movie. And if I don't know. Honestly, when you and I were talking about Pig just now, I kind of forgot that we were recording an episode and that like other people were listening. Like I felt like it was just a conversation between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like it's such a special movie.
Yeah.
Vampire's Kiss, not so much. I don't care about upholding the integrity of the first time discussion between you and I of Vampire's Kiss.
Okay.
And that's not to say it's bad.
No, sure. I get it.
Yeah, when you watch it, you'll see.
I'll get it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I look forward to Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah, very cool. All right, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you, patrons.
Hey, and thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, we don't get a lot of things to really care about. Till next time, thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.
Incoming. Message incoming. Message to Michelle's inner circle. Remember kids, only Michelle's inner circle can decipher this week's message. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Message number 7. 64. 74. 72. 77. 47. 44. 55. 77. 53. 84. 43. 63. 46. 46. 55. 77. 53. 53.
Michelle is counting on you. Do not let her down.